You asked, I delivered. Today I'm going to introduce you to my new podcast, Ask Jenni. I just want to get you some of the feels, introducing myself as a coach, as a business owner, as a wife, as a mother. Join me as we continue this journey of growth together. Like, comment, and subscribe. I would be remiss as your tax BFF if I did not go over these tax law changes. Let me give me a little pen real quick, so I'm gonna cross them off as I'm going through them. So we gotta talk about it, It's election season. I think we're, right around 50 or so days out before we get to vote on our next president. And it's just a lot of chatter. A lot of things, and all of the moral and immoral and cries versus not. Listen, we gonna talk about the facts and the things that are actually going to affect you, American people, okay? So we are going to go over the details of both of their tax plans. I want to say that after doing a bunch of research, going on both of their websites, looking at things like the American Action Forum, which is typically a conservative forum, I found that neither one of these plans are very robust, okay? Taxes are not at the forefront, it don't seem like, but there are some major changes that you need to be aware of. And I put my glasses on today because I might have to do one of these because it's a lot. So, I like to just get started. I don't be having a lot of time, so I just jump on here and I get to it. So that's what we gonna do. If you have any questions, definitely have it in there. Harris wants to give out the money and tax people for it. Like, okay, all right, we gonna get into it, okay? Yeah, that's not a true statement, but we about to get into it. I want you to leave all of your questions. Definitely we'll discuss them at the end, but let's go. Let's start back with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. One of the biggest misconceptions right now is that people are getting richer under Trump and have been suffering since, the Biden administration has been in office. But what people just fail to realize is that we are still under Trump tax. Everything that has been going on with taxes since 2017, when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into effect, is under Trump. These are the things that he wants to make permanent. So a couple things, just in case you forgot. There used to be a thing for businesses called meals and entertainment. Entertainment being if you bought season tickets to your favorite football game or any of that type of stuff, you were able to deduct them as you were courting clients or taking employees or any of that type of stuff. That's something that is gone. Itemized deductions changed forever. Yes, the standard deduction did increase, but itemized deductions like meals for work, uniforms for work, union dues, all of the things that, middle class Americans have taken out, they cannot be itemized any longer. So you cannot write off any of that stuff. This tax code is expiring in 2025. He wants to make it permanent. Of course, Democrats wants to make some big changes to that. Another big itemized deduction that people don't realize affected them is extremely, especially for those who have homes and property taxes and pay a lot in state and local taxes. So Detroiters, you're paying a lot in city taxes, a lot in state taxes. That is capped up to $10,000. So those people saw some differences in their taxes going from 2017 to 2018. But let's get into it. The biggest one, this is the one that got people in the uproar. Capital gains taxes on unrealized gains. One of the biggest misconceptions is this is at death. This is saying that there's a $5 million exemption currently. At death, up to $5 million in unrealized gains, there's no capital gains taxes. She's proposing that be changed. So this affects people who are going to be getting more than $5 million in unrealized capital gains as a death benefit. I I don't even want to get into percentages, but that ain't a lot of us. Ain't a lot of people at all, okay? Raise capital gain taxes to 28% on people making more than $1 million annually. The average American makes around $75,000 or less. This will not affect the average American. The number of people making more than $1 million annually is less than 2%. So this will not affect you on any type of reason. So people who are, dibbling and dabbling on, put and call options and selling stocks and doing things of that nature, she's not talking to you, okay? Trump, no taxes on overtime, right? This is what he's like. This is the new thing right now. I'm like, oh, wow. Here's the thing. Tip income, which both of them want to untax, right? They both are saying in their tax codes that they don't want to tax people who get tip income. Okay, I like it. If you are receiving tips as a waitress or, any position where you have tip income, there is a place on your W-2 that is elected just for that income. They're saying you will not be taxed on that income. I like it. But he's saying, I want to go a little bit, I want to get the middle class on my team a little bit more. He said, we're not going to tax them on overtime. Let me tell you why that doesn't work. Overtime, just like bonus income, of course, I'm in Michigan, so a lot of people work at the plants and a lot of people go exempt during the bonus time. And a lot of people come to me at the end of the year and they say, how do I owe so much? And it's because they did not impose taxes on that bonus income. Your income is based on your tax bracket. It is not based on what type of income is being taxed which way. So to say that you are not going to be taxed on your overtime would be another huge tax overhaul. But, hey, if you are getting it overtime, I know that looks very enticing to you, which a lot of companies are not providing. So that's one of the things that he put out there. Businesses. Right now, currently, before you have any income in that business, you are seeing that you can write off up to $5,000. Harris is imposing that be raised to $50,000. A lot of business owners, we know that it takes a lot of capital to get started and make sure that we have, all the things in place. You want to pay for your advertising and marketing and branding getting set up. You want to pay for your LLC and EIN. You want to pay for trademark, and all of these things are costs associated with getting started with a business. $50,000 as a write-off, especially for someone who has W-2 income to back them up, could be a huge, huge tax deduction. $6,000 credit for new moms and families. This is something that has people, saying that this is going to be, I believe this is what maybe you were speaking of, who commented earlier. I didn't really see it because these glasses, they real I had to do like this. But that type of credit is not going to be something that will hugely affect everybody else, right? So we're not going to be giving them this stimulus per se. This is a child tax credit increase for individuals who have kids that are under 1, meaning everybody who has a kid right now under the age of 16, you're receiving about a $1,000 credit, right? $2,000 was the increase in a couple of years ago. She said, we're going to raise that to $6,000. $6,000 for new families. And if you know anything about having a new family, daycare is higher for that age group, right? So if you have to get back to work and you don't have a huge maternity leave, which most Americans do not, you have to get that kid in daycare. You have to get some support. That child tax credit will absolutely benefit you. But I will like to note that both want to increase the child tax credit, not just Harris. They both have that on their tax code. No tax on Social Security benefits. This is one that I thought was very interesting. This is one of the things that Trump imposes on his tax proposal. And I want y'all to understand something. If you are receiving Social Security only, you are not taxed on your Social Security benefits. Social Security is taxed up to 85% for people who have additional income. So you still working. You still out here getting money. You got multiple pensions. You have additional income coming in, and your Social Security benefits are taxed in accordance to those additional income and that additional money. No tax on it, of course, would benefit some of our elderly people. However, I don't know if I see the extreme benefit of it for those individuals who are still able and capable of making additional money on their own. But I digress. Trump wants to eliminate clean energy tax credits. If you have seen any benefits from having a hybrid or electric vehicle, if you have seen anything with getting solar panels on your house, you've seen extreme benefits to those credits. He wants to get rid of those. He would like to bring back 100% bonus depreciation. All right now. Got something right there. That is when you could take your full depreciation in 1 year. We were able to do that up until 2022 tax year. So if you bought, this is when everybody was buying G-Wagons, okay, for your tax benefits. If you bought a G-Wagon in a year, instead of depreciating over 5 years of useful life, you're able to depreciate the entire value in that first year. Something that could be a huge tax break for a lot of people who make a lot of money. All right. She wants to expand earned income credit for filers with no children. I thought this was very interesting because the earned income credit has historically been like a stimulus for low income families. People who don't make a lot of money and they are still struggling as an individual with no children could still benefit a lot more from the earned income credit than they have in the past. So very interesting, and we'll see how that goes. Expand premium tax credits. If you are paying for your healthcare out of pocket, you are able to get premium tax credits on your tax return. She wants to expand those. So she wants to make sure that healthcare is affordable, right? I digress. Credit for low-income housing and new home buyers. Now, the first-time home buyer credit and anything that they do with new home buyers, hers is up to $25,000 over 4 years, I believe. All of those credits are typically something that has some stipulations with it. If you got the first-time home buyer credit, you saw an extra $5,000 in your refund and you were like, yes, I did it. But then if you did not hold on to that property and live in that property for up to 5 years, if you sold that property, you saw that you had to pay back that money. That's probably going to be the same thing in effect for those. But I did want to say something, especially for Michigan, because Michigan, we do have a credit for renters, but a lot of people who are receiving low income housing, their payment that they're making towards rent does not qualify them for that credit on the state of Michigan. She's proposing that a credit for low income housing be in effect on your federal return. All right. She wants to increase corporate tax rate. All right. I want to tell you something. The reason that we push S Corp and changing your business entity structure so much in the tax world is because of the number of things that you could write off as a corporation before tax is imposed. The benefits are, listen, beautiful. Okay. I'm sharing that as a corporation myself. The benefits of a corporation and being able to deduct all of these things, including your income from the business before any tax is imposed, is huge. So increasing that corporate tax rate on the people who have the most benefits with tax law sounds about right. All right. Again, we're talking about high income. All right. He wants to substantially lower it for corporations who make products in the U.S. So he's trying to take it from 21 to 20% for everybody, from 21 to 15% if your product is created in the U.S. Okay. All right. Right? All right. Increase the tax rate to 39.6% for above $400,000 is what Harris is imposing. I want to just make a couple quick notes. Number one, most of these tax laws are in effect for people who make more than $400,000 or more than $1 million annually. Let me just tell you how that is not a lot of people. Again, the average American is making about $75,000. But I want to really hone in on one big important thing. With reducing the tax liability for our wealthy and for our corporations, Donald Trump is actually imposing getting rid of individual income taxes altogether and imposing it on tariffs. Now, Tariff is a tax on imports. So if we get something from China to help us make a product here, or if we get something from Mexico or Canada, which are our top 3 places that we import goods from, they're going to pay a little bit more money to give us those products. Couple key things you need to know about tariffs. Currently, $277.5 billion is coming in from tariffs and is adding an additional cost burden of about $51.1 billion. Income taxes has about $2.18 trillion in total, of almost 50% of total US revenue. So right now they don't equal out, right? So he has to increase those tariff amounts substantially for it to even balance out with the amount of income taxes that we're currently imposing on American citizens. This will kill the low and middle class. Number one, if we raise the prices on China, raise the prices on Mexico, raise the prices on Canada, they're gonna have to raise their prices on us. Number one. Like if they are making, if they're, hold on, wait, let me back this up. 15% of our normal goods are coming back from imported food, right? 94% of our fresh fish, 55% of our fresh fruit, 32% of our fresh vegetables. This is according to Investopedia. So, those numbers are what they are. But our imports impact our computers, automotive, pharmaceutical, and oil. Everything that you do on a daily basis, basically. So we're already fighting with Big Pharma, right, to keep our pharmaceutical costs low. And we get a lot of our stuff from other places. If the other place that was making it for $1 and selling it to us for 10 is now making it for $1, getting imposed a tariff of $10, they got to sell it to us for $21. So now, instead of us putting a little gravy on top of it and reselling it to the American people, they got to put a little bit more gravy onto it. So inflation has killed a lot of people. The price of bread, milk, everything, meat is extremely high right now. If you import all of these, if you place a tariff on the things that we use on a daily basis and import them for a higher cost, you have to raise costs on our end. So the cost of living would increase extremely. And then just so you can kind of know, 277 billion versus 2.18 trillion. That's a B and a T, okay? To make that number turn into what we are getting right now from income taxes, you would have to break some bonds, okay? We gonna be beefing it out with a couple countries. Either they're gonna stop selling to us or they are going to raise those prices extremely to our American people. Now, I love the idea, right, of no income tax, right? That just sounds enticing. But again, talking to people that make more than $400,000 at least, okay, annually. So yes, for those people, you will see extreme tax benefits under the Trump plan. For everybody else, in the majority of Americans in the US, you will see your butts being handed to you during tax time. One of the things that I really want you to understand is that it sounds good to a lot of people to say, get rid of income taxes. But like everything in this world, every decision has a consequence. What is the consequence of you saving a couple dollars in your little W-2? Is it that every single thing that you purchase on your daily living expense goes up and increases? Can you afford that? Really thinking about how children and the cost of living for children and daycare costs and all of that things really affect the average American. You have to think about imposing some credits for those individuals. Now, I said all of this, and I really, really want to just take this 2 seconds to focus on how you make your decisions. My decision making is not about my more than $400,000 income being imposed a higher tax. My decision is about us as a community, as a people, as an America. And I really want you to start thinking about how your life has changed as far as taxes over the last, 6 years since 2018, and what things do you want to keep in place? Because right now we are currently under Trump tax, and if you are feeling affected by that, it is going to be something that is going to be permanent. Now, do your own research. Like I said, I looked at their websites, I looked at some conservative forums. I definitely took a look at some analysis on different platforms, and I just took the facts. And the facts are that almost all of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's plans are to increase tax on people who are about in the top 1% of American income. Everything else that Donald J. Trump and that other guy are saying are going to affect low and middle class families the most in a hard way. Okay, so I want to get to any questions you guys may have. I want to send this to others. Can a link be saved and shared? Absolutely. I'm going to share this to my page as soon as we get done. Definitely want you to share it. Let's start the conversation. One of the biggest things that really turns me off from the presidential election and the Trump Vance gang is that the divisiveness and the inability to talk and communicate. Right now is a time for us to band together. And by us, I mean Americans. This is going to affect us tremendously. And we've seen how things like who's in the Supreme Court and tax law changes can affect us long beyond when that person is in office. So this isn't just like, oh no, this is just gonna be for another 4 years. This is what can potentially happen to our democracy, to our tax code, to our way of life as American citizens. So something I just want to just put on your hearts and really have you focus a little bit of your energy on. But those are basics, okay? Capital gains and unrealized gains. I know a lot of people were like, oh man. And just so you know, unrealized gains are the gains that are adding up in your stock portfolio, but you have not cashed in on them yet. So I don't like it either. But again, that is for somebody that's making $1 million annually. So a lot of us don't have to worry about that. Keep in mind those things, and don't allow one party over the other's messaging to cloud your ability to do some research. I did some research. I just looked at it. You know, I looked at exactly what their proposal says. And in looking at that, you can see the percentages. You can see the changes from what is currently in place. And, you know, of course, I played around with the numbers. Okay, a $50,000 startup deduction could swing someone from owing $10,000 to them getting $15,000 in a refund. Okay, so just kind of thinking about things like that. It isn't so important that we really focus on what the facts are and how many people it's going to affect, and making sure that you stay in your lane. Okay, if you're in low-income housing or living check to check, or don't really have any retirement savings or stocks and bonds, don't have an investment portfolio at all, are not making at least $400,000 annually, like all of the benefits of tax code under Trump will not benefit you. This is not for you. You could plan with the end in mind, which is something I tell a lot of my business owners, but it's not. It's just not for you. All right. If you know someone who is, you know, even if this can have a negative connotation, but you know somebody who waiting on tax season, right? They waiting on tax season, buy them a new car to pay off their rent for the next 12 months or any of that stuff. Just know that is something that can drastically change with whoever you vote for. But I don't think I saw any other questions. All right. Hell yeah, let's meet. Let's go over your stuff. So just so you know, your tax BFF is here to pay the least amount of taxes, all right? Don't get me wrong, okay? We gonna use all of tax code to benefit you. But I also work with small businesses. A lot of small business owners are not making $1 million annually. In fact, I work more specifically with a lot of Black women in business, and the number of Black women in business who have reached $1 million in their businesses is extremely low, less than 10%. So my clientele will not benefit the most from the tax code under the Trump administration, nor will they be in a deficit under Harris. But I want to just go back to one more thing that was said earlier. The money that they want to give out, they are not imposing another stimulus as Trump did, okay? They are imposing this on tax code and the credits that are in place for the people. Credits are not something that typically is going to be, you're going to have to pay it back. The credit just reduces your tax liability. That tax liability and the tax liability changes year over year for you will be affected by all of the credits that are in place, right? Child tax credit, earned income credit for low-income families and people with children. Those are credits that have been in place forever. They are not something that you have to pay back. However, stimulus, sometimes they got to find out where that's going to come from, right? And a lot of you thought that you got rich under a stimulus package, but the pandemic was an unprecedented act. Anybody who was in office during that time would have had to impose some type of stimulus to increase and boost the economy again because of the deficit that is seen with all of the businesses closing. That is something that was not it definitely, based on the tax code changes that he's imposing, it was not something that was in place to benefit the low and middle class. That was not his intention. He was doing what anybody would have had to do, and he did it as a response to his lack of response to his first knowing about COVID, right? So we all know he had some words about COVID well in advance. Didn't really act on it. A lot of people died, and then he gave y'all stimulus, and a lot of y'all are still talking about y'all got rich under here. It's crazy. It's crazy. But thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I wanted to just point out a couple of the key changes, really focus on what they will actually do, and really get the conversation going. I am an open book. I will not shut you down as long as you don't disrespect me. Don't come on my page talking about you know how y'all get talking about Trump and Harris, okay? Don't do that. But I am so intrigued by perspective. So if you want to drop in the comments or ask a question or talk about why you think it would benefit more people than those that make $1 million annually, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let's run some numbers together. But definitely share this with your communities, especially it's an alarming rate of Black men who are saying that they are voting for Trump for various reasons. A lot of them talking about money and economics and things of that nature. I want you to know that taxes are a huge part of this economy and a huge part of why a lot of businesses are failing. So it's why I talk so much about taxes when it comes into business development and scaling your business. If you don't know what's deductible, or you don't know how to write it off, or you don't know how to properly track your expenses during tax time, I'm giving you a bill well over what you should be paying. So again, this is the perspective of your tax BFF who wants you to pay the lowest amount in taxes and wants you to do it properly. Let's talk. I'm open book. All right, guys. Do people think that the tax laws right now are from Obama or Biden? They do. They really do. And that was one of the first things I said. These are Trump tax laws that we are currently in full effect until 2025. All right. So I'm gonna jump off. Feel free to rewatch and share. And like I said, let's talk about it. I will really hope that everybody went into this election season informed. All right. Love you guys. And let's save on those taxes. Tax season is coming up, so you need a tax planning session immediately. All righty. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Ask Jenni. Ask Jenni has been in the works since 2016. I have started tax team services, developed coaching programs for small business owners and tax professionals, and I've even started a podcast with my husband, Finding Love. You can follow me on Jenni L. Hendricks on all platforms. But before you leave, like, comment, subscribe, and ask Jenni anything. I'm here to talk to you more about business, life, love, and all things growth.